what I can do is I can go like this, hit one here, and add guys from current fibers. That's these guys, so add from these guys. It's not going to work because set to 1. You have to set that at 2 for some reason, and add from current fibers, and then it's okay. The only thing is that I feel that that is kind of like slow, and also it's a bit, I mean, it's not that necessary when you deal with feathers, so I thought maybe I could fix that sort of. So if I say something like, okay, say 50 and set that to 2 guides. So this is going to look a hack from current fibers, and that's okay, but I don't really want the extra nodes, so I'll hit OK. What will happen is that I'll get this, I can convert that, actually no, I can expand that selection, and then I can delete, invert that and delete. So it's kind of like a hack. So I go back, fiber effects, and just say grow with a certain amount. The length doesn't really matter. Go back to guides and load that guide that I tweaked the modeler. And now you'll see that it only has one node, which I just prefer when creating feathers. The only thing is that it didn't really, it got screwed up when exporting these guides back to modeler, in the sense that I didn't really, I couldn't use the strand tool. Strand tool would just bug and I couldn't select the 2-point polys for these guides. So doing it this way will screw up strand modeler. So just be aware of that. However, it's much easier though. I don't think I'm going to go too much into this. Also, like I showed in other videos, it might have been better for you to create a bias first to create this kind of stuff. Did find that, I think I showed that in another video as well, that I found that mirroring it on the x-axis doesn't really create a good result. I don't know why. It might be that the result is good in layout when you render it, but in strand modeler it will create this strand modeler, that's this program. So in strand modeler it will kind of like screw up the display of the fibers, and it will screw up exporting the fibers. But as for rendering using guides, I guess it's okay. One thing is that since I did it this way, since I cut away part of the guides, it might very well be that tweaking the stuff later on in layout is not going to be very friendly. It might crash the computer, or it might not render. But so you might just want to drop the step that I just showed you. Anyway, I'm just testing this now, as it's easier both to do, and maybe it would work in the export would work fine anyway. So if you test this and the export doesn't work, then just do it the regular way. I don't know how many, let's see, I think it's about 200 guides. Okay. So we could do this like forever, but this is again where I should have, I think it would have been better for me to create a bias first and then convert the bias into guides like I showed in another video. Anyway, I think I'm kind of like satisfied with this. The thing is, like I said, you're not gonna be able to tweak the stuff in Strand Modeler. I do wonder though if I can, let's see, so I got 200 guides here. What if I say 200 fibers as well? Okay, so if I now hit OK, this one should screw up, I think. Strand tool, if I move this now, what the hell, it works. Oh, you know what? I think it works because, let's see, let's try that strand tool again. Oh yeah, now this one is soft, you see that? I exported one that only has one. Okay, so I switched directly back here. I don't think that was a good idea. Yeah, so actually this works, cool. The reason why it screwed up, I found, is that I was working in 2 layers and then I used Strand Modeler. It didn't really like that. So, okay, you can see what's happening here. It totally screws that up. So now I can't select this one. You can see that it's just, you can see how that is just gone. So also this, one of them is invisible. Anyway, so I'll just undo all of the steps and I gotta just undo all the way, but it's still not working. Can I delete that? Well, sort of. That's not really fixing the problem, but anyway, I did find that it actually works. It's just the mistake I made earlier was to edit the strands while having 2 layers active. That's what screwed up. Well, that's what screwed it up. So let's try this over again. What if that's in the background? Will it then work? Strand tool. Okay, so that works. Okay. Anyway, that's very good. So I've solved that. As I think this could actually be easier. I think it's easier to tweak. Just having one node. And also I think it's easier to tweak in Modeler. So, you know what? You might just want to use Strand Modeler to create these guys and then just jump straight back to Modeler. And the cool thing here is that you can actually, like I showed you, you can actually tweak these guides and then go back to import these guides back to Strand Modeler and export a more high-res version out again, like I have here. So it's the same stuff, the same guides, only these guides have more cuts in them. So these guides can now, these are soft, so you can bend them and stuff. So yeah, you can turn straight guides into curved guides quite easily. So that's cool. Anything else? No, I don't think so. Okay, so that's layer what? That's level 7. What we can do now is go to Fiber Effects and just say grow and 1000 and load layer 7. Looks pretty good. What I want to do now is I want to take fiber and say 2 here and 2 here. And that's very good. So I can just hit OK to export that. So I think I'll do that right away. Oh, you know what? Let's pump that up. Let's say 4,000 on that one. And hit OK. Feathers are exported. And I'll just create a new one. So this is what I talked about earlier, that these are actually heading in the wrong direction. So I want to flip the feathers because I want to use this guy here or these guys here as a fixed points, fixed vertices. That way it's easier for cloth effects to what did I say? Twist these feathers in the wing. Sure. By only having one vertex in the root, they're gonna fly around in a nicer way. You know what? This is not that bad though, and you could also combine several of these guys. Just keep on exporting feathers just by changing the bias and stuff, and combine feather outputs. So I guess I could just show you what I mean. So yeah, so for example, if I go here and I create another type of feather strip, let's see. So I go like that, change the bias, do something like this. So that's better. Take guides, create, oops, sorry, click here to abort that. Don't hit escape, that will just cut out strand molder, close it, and delete all changes. So click here and turn fibers to guides. There we go. Now these are bent, but I'm not gonna bother with that now. Actually no, clear the guides. I want it to be 2. At least it's a bit better. So we'll like that. Okay, go back here, and we had like before 2 and 2. Way too few of these guys now, so make it go like 2,000 or something like that. Oh yeah, and since I now have both guides and, like I told you earlier, and the UV bias, the guides and the UV bias always fight each other. So what you need to do is you need to delete the UV bias after you created those guides. So do that by hitting reset, and there we go. The interesting thing now, let's see. I'm not quite satisfied with this. I could save out the guides and stuff, but what I want to do, or what I want to try, so I want to try to see if, yeah, there we go. That's cool. So see how those are now lying or following that shape. So I think that's pretty good. This is way too few though. Let's go like this, and let's hit OK on that one. And let's see, where did it end up? Is it that one? Or is it this one? It's this one. So I guess you could decide now if this one is better or if that one is better. But yeah, it is slightly tricky to do this, but I think we'll just try something like this and try something like let's see. Let's go to the right view with the wireframe. Select, for example, these guys here, the side. Go to the top view. Deselect these guys and deselect those guys. And manually now, let's see. I think I'll just manually deselect a few of these guys because I don't like. You know what? I'll just copy it like that. Copy, paste that back in here, and you'll see that we got a different polyflow on those feathers. So you could decide to just keep those feathers, or you could decide to mix them or delete some of the blue ones. For example, delete here. That could work. The thing is that the feathers are now penetrating each other, but doesn't matter. It's kind of like, it depends really on your model and stuff. If this is a bird or whatever in a movie, then most likely, not most likely, most likely you're not going to have this kind of close-up. Well, I mean, that depends, but yeah. So, and again, rotating these guys manually is kind of like not that easy. I think sometimes I just prefer to use the regular rotate tool instead of anything else. It actually, it actually works kind of good in this case. So yeah. Anyway, and of course you could just mirror from one side to the other side. Not really sure why. Yeah, doesn't matter. Oh, they're not two-sided. That's why. Let's just say it's not that one. That one. So yeah, you could just copy from this side over to the other side if you want to do that. But this is kind of like the start, sort of. And this video is not quite related to using an animation path to create feathers, but kind of. You could like mix some of these techniques with that video. But I'll leave it at this for now, and